What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Founder Academy. It has been about a week and a half. I apologize for not uploading. I actually uploaded a funny little video of me doing a crossbar challenge, which got some good reviews, especially from my other social media channels with my friends and stuff like that. But yeah, I hope you guys took a look at that and hope you enjoyed it. It was just something a little bit out of the box to show a little bit more of my personality. But yeah, I apologize for not uploading this series. The reason for it was just after the rewards from the Ultimate Team of the Season, when I packed 6 Rest of the Worlds. I didn't even pack them. I basically pulled 6 Rest of the Worlds. I ended up getting 2 Jonathan Davids. We ended up using them both in SBCs. I just became so disenfranchised and so frustrated with this game. I was like, it just was a microcosm for what is happening this year. Is like EA is so obsessed with trying to control the market and make sure that people don't get too many good cards too early, that they're giving you such crap that there's no point in playing it because the rewards are so terrible. So they've gone so far the opposite way in terms of trying to keep good cards out of people's clubs that it's having an adverse effect in the opposite direction. So hopefully they find some balance next year. Like I said, I'm not the type of guy that wants to sit here bashing EA because, like I said in past episodes and in other forms of communication, I guess, that I worked there. So like I've got a lot of friends there, and I just don't believe that sitting here saying, oh, everything is terrible because EA is the worst, that doesn't get anything done. But there are elements of this game that have been really frustrating for me, to the point that like even the most hardcore fans wants to stop playing it. And if it wasn't for the series that I've been using as kind of motivation to jump on the game, I might have just stopped already. And these are perfect examples. So what you guys are going to see in this video is a lot of the SBCs from basically the last week and a half, which was the end of the Team of the Season, and then me into the Mendy challenge, the start of it anyway. But these Team of the Season SBCs are perfect examples of what is going on and what is wrong with a lot of the game. The SBCs, the guaranteed SBCs, instead of it being like a 1 of 25 or however many cards there are in the actual team, they've just like raised the pack weights of the lower end cards. And like, look at this guy, Sirdar. I packed this guy 3 times this year already, and I'm not even opening that many packs. That's from guaranteed packs. I think one of them, sorry, I take that back. One of them was from like a random Bundesliga pack, I guess, or whatever. But I think I packed him in my guaranteed Bundesliga Team of the Season player, if I recall correctly. But like, that just goes to show you, like, there's hundreds of players in this, and I packed this guy 3 times. Like, what are the odds of that? It's like astronomically high. So they've just been given like such crap. Like the Rest of the World one, I got the worst possible player, which was the Japanese guy. And then we ended up packing, at the very start of the video, you guys saw I got Serge Gnabry, who I'm using in this, excuse me, the Ultimate Team of the Season SBC. He was just not a very good card. I was actually happy packing him because I was like, a Bundesliga player, I can use him as a super sub, but he was just really terrible. He kind of reminded me a lot of Marcus Rashford, whereas like the stats look good on paper, but they just didn't translate. I don't know if it's body type or what, but very slow acceleration, very slow to turn. He just was not a very good card, so we used him in this pack, where I was really excited about this. I thought, you know, we could get some really good players, and then we ended up packing Danny Carvajal. So not a big L, I would say a small L, I guess, by the community standards these days, even though I hate that rating system. But not, I would view this as like dodging a bullet here. This could have been a lot worse. We could have got Sommer. We could have got Jordan Henderson again, which I would have been stuck with, and what am I going to do with that? Danny Carvajal technically like fits into the squad. We can make him work, but right now we've got Dybala in there, so he's hard linking to Juan Cuadrado. So I've played around with the idea of putting Dybala onto the bench and having him come on as a super sub, because I really like that Dybala card. He's not going to go anywhere, but at the same time, he hasn't really been great. He's been okay, but he's not really, again, fitting the meta this year. He's just too weak, and I don't think he's agile enough to have that kind of Messi type effect. He's been okay. His shooting's been fine, but again, just too inconsistent, too weak, especially when like things like handicap or DDA start kicking in. He just gets bullied really badly. So I don't mind him. His price has dropped so much. If he was back around the million coin range, or even like the 800 or 900k, I would be a lot more tempted to sell him. But right now, he's just not anywhere near price-wise what I would think would be value to. I think he's about 400k, so I'm like, I might as well just keep him. You can get quite a bit for 400k, don't get me wrong, but right now I'm like, I'd rather keep that card. I'd be okay selling Juan Cuadrado, but then I'd have to figure out what I'm going to do with the midfield, and it doesn't really link with Aguero. So I got to figure things out. Maybe we'll do a prime icon pack. I'm not really too sure, but that's a future me problem. So what you guys are seeing now is after I just kind of got those SBCs out of the way because they were just sitting around on my desktop just doing nothing. I need to get them into a video. This is really what this video is about, which is the Mendy card. So when I looked at these cards, I love this idea of working through. Some guys are freaks and did this in like the first day. Like this is meant to be over like a 28-day period or something like that. And guys were doing this within the first 12 hours. So this is about 12, 13 hours worth of gameplay from what I understand. And that's if you're doing it quite efficiently. I have no real interest in the 93. The 89 is more than enough for me just because, you know, even if I do put this guy into the team, which I doubt I will, I might consider him just because I like Alex Telles a lot. If I put him into the squad, you know, the 89 is so close. I care more about the 5-star weak foot, the 5-star skills than I do about really jacking up the stats to the absolute highest. The thing that I like the most about it is the 85. Well, this is the part that I hate, is that the 85 is the worst part of getting this done. Once you're at the 85, you just play 10 games with the 85, 12 games with the 87, and next thing you know, you've got yourself the 89. Going from the 89 to the 93 is where you're really going to have nightmares, just because you've got to do dumb things like win objectives, you got to score like crosses and headers, and it's at the point where I hate doing win objectives, so I'm not going to bother with it. To me, the 89 is more than enough, like I said, so I'm just going to keep it that way. And then the other thing, like I said, with the 85s is this card is going to be very hard, the 85 card, because right now I'm in Division 4, and as you guys are seeing, I don't know if this guy's a Division 4 player, but what I can tell you is from playing a lot of Division 4 games, my records are usually somewhere around a 3 or 4 to 1 win ratio, I guess, in Division 4, somewhere around there. It's gotten a lot better, especially since my team's kind of become a lot more meta. Once this challenge came out, the quality of player just got a whole lot better. And, you know, I can't confirm this, but my assumption is that Division 1, Division 2, Division 3 guys dropping down, whether it be natural or especially the Division 1 guys, they're just dropping down on purpose just because they think, you know, I want to go down, come up against easier opponents, even though it's a bunch of other Div 1 players playing. But Division 4 is kind of where they settle at. I don't think they want to spend the time to go all the way down to Division 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. So they just go down to 4, and that's more than enough for them to get it done. So the reason I bring that up is because I really view myself as probably about a Division 3 player, maybe Div 2 if I can kind of pop in there, but realistically probably a Div 3 guy if I were to really be honest with myself, and that's try hard. Division 3 is probably where I'd kind of settle, just because, you know, I'm getting a bit older, my reflexes aren't as good, and I also don't sit there playing to the meta of the game all the time. Like if you just told me that running down the wing and just cutting back is going to be the way to score goals, I just can't play like that. It's just not, to me, I'd rather just not play than be really, really good at the game. Unless you told me that I was going to be like a pro and just I didn't have to worry about money, but like, look, the pro scene's a whole other conversation. Point being, I just don't want to play that way. To me, this is a game that I want to have fun with. I want to enjoy. I don't want to sit there sweating it out, and it's become that, but I still play my game. You know, I play that kind of tiki-taka style that I really like, playing short passes. I don't do any real skilling. I do some skills, I guess, just the meta stuff, but overall I just want to play the stuff that I've been used to playing for so many years, which is short passing and really moving the ball around, kind of that late 2000s, early 2010s Spanish national team style of football, which is really short balls in tight. So to me, that's when I have the most fun playing FIFA. So that being really good at that will probably settle you in around that kind of Div 3, Div 4, ideally Div 2 type of region. So that's been kind of where I'm at with the game. What you guys are going to see with the gameplay is I want to be careful with this because I know people get mad at me saying it, but I've said it in pretty much every episode, so I guess I might as well just continue it now, is with these Div 1 players in there, the game's hard enough, and when I started losing and drawing and stuff like that, my team just got worse and worse and worse. And I know I sound like a broken record, and you guys are going to get mad at me. Oh, there's no handicap, it's all in your head. Man, I don't know what to tell you. Like, honestly, I don't really know what to tell you at this point. This experience from trying to do this objective to get those first 5 wins in division rivals, 5 wins is not usually that hard for me. This was impossible, and I get it. The good players were coming down, but it was getting down to the point where, like, you guys can probably see it a lot in the gameplay that I'm showing you. I've said many times before, I just show, you know, every chance, whether it be for me or for my opponent, to tell the story of the game. And my team just fell through the floor as these losses and these draws build up and build up and build up, and I'm getting more and more and more. I didn't take my team offline during this series. I just went back and, or not during the series, but during this episode, I just wanted to show people like what I was coming up against. The opponents were good. Their teams were obviously really good, but it was stuff like that. Like, that's maybe not the best time to use a lob pass, but you know, Sergio Aguero, as soon as he runs into the guy, just falls, right? And like stuff like that. Like, the guy just hit a through ball, neither of my defenders reacted. So the players just get dumber and dumber and dumber, and it got worse and worse as time went on. And you guys can just see this and make your own assumptions for yourself, right? Like, you can say that, oh, you're just mad that you're not winning, but I'm not upset that I'm not winning. I'm not winning because the game is basically just handicapping me. There's not a better term for it. And it's really just when you start taking losses, you start taking draws, they just get worse. They start falling through the floor. They start doing dumb stuff like that starts happening. It's just insane, and you can't stop it. So what you guys are going to see a lot in the gameplay is I'm working really hard to get out of my own end. So in previous other episodes where I'm coming up against, you know, weaker opponents, but I'm winning, when I'm coming up against guys after I've been on a win streak, my team will advance the ball out of their own end really quickly. What was happening a lot from after these losses and these draws, when I started getting handicapped, my team, or morale as I like to call it, when my team was getting morale, it was taking so long to get out of my own end because the passes are so slow and they're so heavy that my players are taking heavy touches, and it's giving the opponent time to get back, so it was hard to get out of my own end. So the reason I stopped that is I want you guys to take a look, go back and watch Tony Cruz there. Like, Tony Cruz, that's a good example. He was covering, there's nobody to his left. He was covering the passing lane, but the player just went like this. Like, Tony Cruz just moved out of the way, creating a passing lane for his Youngman son. So it was stuff like that too, from a defensive side, that I was having to really battle with the handicap. Is it draws your players out, and you guys know what I'm talking about. I know you know what I'm talking about. When you're playing with, oh, what's going on with the gameplay today? It feels like you're having to work harder on defense for 2 reasons. One, your players don't lock into tackles, which is what you're going to see a lot of here. Like, they're just losing battles. They won't come and take the ball. They'll just kind of bounce off of the guy, or they'll stand there and the opponent will just turn with it. They'll just win 50-50 battles. Or your players' AI, like the defensive AI on the players that you're not controlling, are almost moving out of the way. They're moving out of positions, and you're having to change players to pull them back into the proper positions. So their defensive AI is dropped really, really heavily. Like, that's what happens when you're getting morale. Like, when you're getting handicapped, when you're getting DDA'd too from in-game momentum. It's really, really frustrating, and it's so hard to combat. You can't really do anything other than, like I said, take your team offline, or you can hope that your team gets so bad that you're dropping to a level where you're playing against opponents that you can just crush. But I don't think too many people really want to do that. So you guys are going to see in the next episode, you know, like I said, I didn't take this team offline, but I took them offline after this episode, because you guys are going to see what happens. My team is just at a point where I couldn't do anything. You're hitting posts, they're running offside, they're just doing dumb stuff, and I whether I wanted to win this game or not, it wouldn't even have mattered. And look, the opponent's not bad. I'm not blaming him for being a decent opponent, but this guy, I don't think, this is a good example right here. Read it, and he just takes the ball, walks in and scores. This guy and a couple of other the opponents, you know, people, like I said, get mad at me because they're just going to say, oh, you're mad because you're losing. And like I said, I'm not mad because I'm losing, but I know the difference between a good opponent. I've played some good opponents in this game, or in this episode, But some of the opponents that I was playing were not good. And the reason you can tell that is the way they create opportunities, or they take half chances. As soon as they get any room in the box, they just hit shoot. A really good opponent, like a Div 3, Div 4 opponent, is probably good enough at this point, or I would even say higher than that, like Div 2, Div 3, is so good at this point that he's not going to just take pot shots like that. He's going to wait until he's got good angles. He's in the box. He's got high percentage shooting chances. Like, that's what I try to create myself. I'm not the best at it, but I try to create that stuff because I know that, like, just taking pot shots, other than maybe swinging some DDA, like little bits of DDA in your favor, is not really useful. That's all it's really doing, is moving the DDA up to your advantage for the in-game momentum to swing. But you're wasting a really good scoring opportunity, which are hard to create at this level. You know, when you're getting into the higher ratings, you're not going to create too many scoring opportunities, so you can't waste those. You can't waste them with just shooting from 35 yards out, and as soon as you do a skill move, just with a defender in front of you, just hit shoot. You know, you might score the odd goal, but for the most part, those are the guys that, like, show their team stats and they've got 35 shots, and they're like, can you believe this? Oh my god, I only lost. FIFA really screwed me. Well, no, you took 35 shots, but they're all from stupid angles and really dumb positions where you shouldn't really have been shooting. You know, you're not going to win too many games playing like that. And that's the reason that you're never going to be like a Div 1 or Div 2 player, right? You're just going to be stuck in that type of position. So anyway, that's a little bit ranty, but that's kind of where I'm at with it. You know, what you guys are going to see is, like, the team is just getting worse and worse and worse. You know, stuff like that, even that wasn't necessarily the world's greatest shot, but turn, smash it, but he just hits it very centrally, easy for the computer to defend, or for the goalkeeper to stop. Just heavy touches. Again, another thing there, Sergio Aguero bounces off his shin. So, you know, I'm not putting this in the video because I want to complain. I'm putting it because I want to show people what I was coming up against. Like I said, 5 wins shouldn't really be that difficult, but it was just really hard because as soon as I took the first loss, the team dropped a little bit, and I'm coming up against a good opponent, or a decent enough opponent in Div 2. I just couldn't create anything. Like, I'm having to struggle so much because the passes are just so underhit. My players are so slow. They're backing off from attacking the ball and stuff like that. As soon as, you know, I make a drag back, the guy will overcompensate one way, come back and still get his foot in to block the shot, and then my player will fall over. He'll ragdoll. So, like, it's impossible to even get out of your own end at that point because your team is just, they're so lethargic, they're so DDA'd, they're so badly DDA'd that you can't even do anything with it. Like, you can't score, you couldn't be good, you couldn't win a game even if you wanted to because the game's not giving you the ability to. So whether I would have won or lost, couldn't tell you. Again, perfect example of the defenders. Like, you just watch the defensive AI. One of the guys that really got hurt extremely bad from the morale was Eder Militao. He made more mistakes in this game. Like, Sergio Ramos was okay, but Eder Militao was just getting really badly exposed. Like, you look like Sergio Ramos, decent positioning enough there. I'm watching him with Aguero. He was fine. He was kind of covering it, but Militao was just caught so heavily flat-footed. It was crazy. I don't even know what to say. Like, some of these chances like that, like, I wanted to just walk in, smash it, Sergio Aguero. Instead of walking and hitting it, he takes a touch back in the opposite direction. So it goes onto his left foot. He's turning away from goal. He has to do a hook shot. Like, I couldn't even, you know, the proof is in the video. Like, people want to say there's no handicap on forums and on Reddit and whatever, but there's proof right here. Like, I don't even have to doctor this. Like, I don't even know how to doctor footage, to be honest with you, if I wanted to, but, you know, I'm not touching this stuff. Like, this is just, you guys look for yourself and see it. And, you know, I'm sorry for complaining so much. I'm trying not to complain about it, but, like, I just don't really have anything else to talk about because this gameplay was just, it was killing me. It was killing me so badly. Like, I couldn't do anything. So this guy clearly is the 87. He's just playing the 10 games with his blues or whatever, which, you know, once you get that 85, I don't want to say it's smooth sailing, but the nice thing is you don't have to worry about winning. It's so stressful when you're playing this to try to win games because winning the games in these divisions is so difficult right now because everybody's just sweating it out. These are the types of guys that you want to come up against because they don't need to win. They're going to try to win, which you want them to, but, like, the guys that are having to win, they're they're the ones that you have to watch out for because they're just going to play like absolute rats, right? So anyway, this guy, funny enough that I say that, this guy was maybe one of the most toxic people I played the entire weekend. You know, he kept pausing it, as you guys will see here, and I think he was trying to message me because he kept doing this, but he wasn't making any changes. He was just pausing it. So I turned off my messages because I was getting so many people before just sending me either hate or begging for wins. So I turned it off because I was just like, even though I don't mind messages, nothing constructive was coming out of them. So I just turned them off. So it's something that I'm glad I did, because once this Mendy objective came into the game, all you saw was people messaging you. Every game the guy would pause it, almost every game, and I would, for about 30 seconds or whatever the time is, 25 seconds, nothing would happen, and then all of a sudden it would just go back. So I'm assuming they're trying to message me, and then it says, you cannot message this user or whatever, and the guy would get all mad, and then he would come back in and try hard. So that's what this guy did. He tried it multiple times. Clearly he was too dumb to realize what was going on, is that I didn't have messages on. I don't know if it gives you an actual note, but I mean, I wasn't replying because I have no idea what he was saying. But he kept trying it. He kept pausing it and trying to message me. And he was definitely try hard. So he was either just sending me abuse, or trying to send me abuse, or he was messaging me trying to ask for a win. But I don't think he needed a win. Maybe he did because he's trying to get the 93 and he needed to do something with the 87s. Like, just let me score a header or whatever it was. But I am definitely not going to do it to this guy, because this guy was a real piece of work. Like, I don't want to use the real language that I'd like to, because even though I'm not making any money from these videos, I don't want to get demonetized. But this guy was just somebody that I'm not going to give that win to. He was terrible. I don't know what happened here. This was really unfortunate on his part, because he actually read that first play. Nice finish from Aguero. This was the only game where my team felt like, even though they were getting slowed down, my opponent was getting slowed down. So dumb things were happening on both sides of the fence. Maybe which is why he was frustrated. Maybe why he was trying to message me, because he was probably taking a bunch of L's trying to do objectives or whatever. But yeah, like I said, every other game that I played, I was just getting handicapped so badly. This one, I still felt like my team was playing crappy, but this guy's team was playing crappy too. He had some weird bounces. So like I said, it goes both ways. You know, I'm not saying what happens for me or against me is the only thing that happens, for me is the only way it happens. But I should have really won this game. This was my own fault. I think this might have been the opportunity that I was thinking of. No, it wasn't. But you guys can see here, I'm up 3-2, and I had some chances. This was a really stupid one, which really annoyed me. His computer auto-blocked it with the outside of his foot sliding. Like, he didn't do that. That was the computer that did that. And then this one, I think, there's an Aguero opportunity. Oh, no, this is another one from Paulo Dybala. I thought he was going to rush out his keeper. I was kind of jogging. I got stuck in no man's land. It was just far enough where I didn't want to sprint, because if I sprinted, I would close the angle down. But he was moving his keeper, too, and he moved him the opposite direction, and he still stopped the ball. So that was annoying. Great defense here from Sergio Ramos. I was obviously having to try very hard defensively, but he wasn't generating a whole lot of chances. I think this is the one that I'm thinking of. A little fake shot here. He moves his keeper. See, I wasn't paying attention, wasn't expecting him to do that, and I tried to go far post just to ice this game. And I think this was the same clip. I just cut out about 2 seconds, but look at that. Bounces right off my guy, comes back, and even though my players are in decent enough position, he still fires it in with Mendy, and then he's running around like a real jackass, just like shushing me, being an idiot. Actually, sorry, he doesn't even score with Mendy. He scores with Mane. So I don't know if Mendy, I don't know what objective he was trying to do, if he needed an assist or something like that, but he must have gotten whatever he was trying to do, but he was just being a real idiot. Like, all game, this guy was just a moron. So that's just 90th minute cheese. There's nothing more or less to that. You can see, by the way, Ter Stegen does this when he's trying to go for the ball. There's no, like, extended arm. He just does one of these. So that happens quite a bit in the 90th minute. They just short arm. They dinosaur arm, which, whatever. It happens. I score them for and against, all the time in the 90th minute, right? It's just the sliders dropping defensively. So it happens. I'm not too worried about that. But I'm mad at myself here, because I should have really iced this game, especially on that chance with Aguero. All I needed to do was just pass it into the net right in front of me. But that moron, well, he's not a moron, I guess, for doing this, but he's just a moron in general, Aurelio or whatever his name is, moves his keeper to the left, and I smash it right into his keeper. So my bad, my fault on that one. I don't know what I was thinking there. I never really like expect guys who don't move their keeper to move their keeper. It's something that they either do or they don't do. And once you figure out a guy does it, you can kind of figure him out. But this guy just started doing it towards the end of the game. So really bizarre. And then we come up against this guy, this Norwegian guy, I guess. He's got a Norway flag in there. So he's already got the 93 Mendy. So this dude's definitely going to be a decent enough player or a try hard. You know, if he's in Division 4 doing this, he's either working his way up or doing this in Division 4 was pretty impressive if that's what he did. Excuse me. Yeah, but at this point, we haven't even won a game. We haven't taken our team offline. We haven't repaired them. So you can expect what's going to happen here. Like, my team just at this point are absolutely in the dumps. They're in the mud. And I essentially had no chance by this point. And, you know, again, not complaining from like a fundamental standpoint. I know better. I know I should know to take my team offline at this point, whether you want to believe it or not, be my guest. But I know that I should have taken my team offline, but I was just trying to power through it. Because the other thing with online is you got to sit there playing 3 or 4 games offline, which is about an hour, right? It's about an hour's worth of your time. So I'm just like, all I need is 1 or 2 games. This is day 1 that I was doing this. Got an opportunity with the penalty there, and I guess this guy read my head movement. So the head movement's a funny one. I never really noticed it or paid attention to it until this actual penalty here. I've heard about it, but I've never had a guy actually stop a penalty because of it. At least to the best of my knowledge. What a tackle there. See, that's how much I was having to try. These other guys are getting their auto blocks. I'm having to run a defender back and slide tackle in the box just to make sure that this guy doesn't score. But left-footed chance there from Marcus Rashford. Don't take it with your right, Marcus. Take it with your left, right? No, there's no handicap. But yeah, anyway, the head movement, I've never really experienced it. But when I went back and watched this, and I was thinking, how the hell did this guy think to go top right? And I noticed that he was watching Lionel Messi. Like, Lionel Messi's running up to the ball doing this. So when he's doing that, you know, he must have been watching the head movement, right? It's because nobody guesses top left. Like, sometimes they do, but it's pretty rare. Like, I've never seen guys do that. And if they do guess top left, it's definitely saved. Like, I've never just like passed the ball into the bottom corner and have a guy dive top left. So I guess a lot of people at these higher levels are starting to do that. I don't know how much time you have to really read it. I need to go back and watch that and see if there's tutorials online about it. But like, it's something that now I have to start thinking about. I've never really worried about it. I just go, you know what, this is where I'm going to put the ball because I like moving the cursor before. But I guess moving the cursor before causes that head movement. So they got to get rid of that, for one. But 2, I mean, they're not going to touch it this year. So I don't know what I'm going to do about getting that out of my game. I guess I need to do the Nepenthes style, which is just like you move it, power up, and then you move it to avoid the head movement. But it's just an annoying thing to have to do. I didn't want to have to worry about that, but now it's something I got to think about. So anyway, we come up against this guy. Yeah, again, the other guy, the previous guy that we just played, I guess when I got the penalty and we went into half and he hadn't scored yet, he just ended up quitting. But that counts as a draw and also hurts against my team's morale. So now they're even further in the dumps, and my team is just basically almost at an unplayable state. You guys can see how lobby these passes are, and that's one of the things that I wanted to. Yeah, that goal. That one we're going to revisit in a minute, but that's one of the things that I definitely want to mention here is if your team is getting handicapped, be very careful with the lob passes because they lob them up. And what happens is the players run, when you're getting handicapped, the players run into each other's spaces and they don't spread out and create proper distancing. They start to narrow and they come in and from this might not mean anything to you guys, but from a soccer strategy standpoint, you don't want to ever kind of close a ball carrier's space. You want to kind of back away. You want to create an angle. You don't want to close a space down, and they do that when you're getting handicapped in FIFA. So when you have the ball, the opponent will run towards you or run in a line because it becomes easier for the defender to cover that run. So I wanted to pause this one here because all I wanted to do was cut the ball back, do a little tramp over to Aguero, and shoot. Now look at the pass he makes. It goes to Messi. Look at Toni Kroos right in front of it. Could have even went to Toni Kroos there. Toni Kroos just stops and he backs off and it locks into Messi. So watch this in real time again. Look at that. What in the hell is happening there? So the reason I kept that in was, I mean, for obvious reasons that I put that in there. But then the guy gets the ball, it bounces right to him. He starts a counterattack, takes the ball, or intercepts the ball from my guy. Like I tried just a simple pass, but because the players were running into each other's line of sight and running behind the defender, the pass gets intercepted. The guy walks right downfield and just smashes it into the net. So now we are behind 3-1. So this is the type of stuff that people really need to be aware. This is not me complaining. This is me educating you guys. You have to be aware of this, right? This is what the game is going to do. So this is why you take your team offline, because this type of stuff is costing wins, right? It'll cost you a win, because now I'm down 3-1. So now when I went down 3-1, I knew exactly what was going to happen. I called this a mile away. I said, I'm going to get a second goal, but it's going to be so late that I won't be able to get a third. So it continues to like slow my team down enough. Like even there, like the through ball, I had the through ball onto Aguero, but it didn't bend it at all. It just played it literally straight. And the reason it plays it straight is it wants Aguero to have to run further to get it. So by the time he gets it, the defense has enough time to get men back behind the ball. Again, I want to try playing the ball back to Messi here. Messi not making any smart run at all. Thankfully he runs, steals this. Nice little cutback from Renato Sanchez, but he just blasts it over the bar. Like, I don't remember how much power I put on that. You'd have to go back and watch it, but you know, like I just had no chance really at this point when I'm down 3-1. I was just hoping that I could get one early enough that I could get a late goal that would tie it. But I know that the game is going to give me at least one more goal. It's just, it always happens, never fails, even if it's in the 90th minute. But you guys can see, like, I'm having to try so hard. His defenders are overrunning left and right, but they're still overcompensating because my guys are just too slow. The touches are too heavy. And even on something like this, like, you know, Renato Sanchez has quite a bit of the ball to shoot at. Like, I want to play this to Dybala. It locks on to Renato Sanchez, and then the computer-controlled Dybala runs and just kicks it. Like, this type of stuff was just happening over and over and over. Like, I don't even know what to do here, right? So I have to just slow the ball down here, because if I would have taken a one-time shot, he would have just fired it wide. But there's the second goal that I was talking about, right? Like, it never fails. It comes late, but I needed the 90th minute cheese, I guess is what you call it, right? When the sliders drop. But I needed that on top of my ultra attacking to give me an opportunity to score a goal, because I wasn't going to get one. So of course, after that happens, the guy would just hold the ball. As soon as I got close, he would just lob it away. So, you know, that's the type of stuff that causes people to rage in FIFA, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here raging about it, but again, look at that one. How many times have I said this, when they do the double scissors and the ball just seeing eyes through it? Like, they're just a step behind. I've said this in how many videos now, right? And like I said, if you're just watching this one, go back and watch my other videos. Like, this is not a coincidence. This is happening over and over and over. Loss, loss, loss. Your team starts doing these same things, right? So you don't want to believe me? Don't. But like, the proof is there, right? It's pretty straightforward. I don't know what else to say, right? It's just there. So the question is going to be, how do we get out of this, and when are we going to get out of this? We're at a point now where, you know, how many games are we into this? 5, and I don't even have a win yet. And I'm not going to get a win. I'm not going to get a win because until I take my team offline, they're not going to be playable to the point that I can even get a win out of these guys, because no matter who I'm playing, the guy's just going to end up scoring a goal at some point, and then it's going to be an uphill battle, and then he'll get a second one, and then I'm not going to be able to pull myself out of it. Like, look at this. I was defending this guy so heavily for the first 10 minutes, and I was defending him really well. He wasn't creating any opportunities. He was another one of those guys just taking pot shots, and then he just took some random one with Luka Modric from way out there. Like, since when did these fly in? Like, Marc-Andre Ter Stegen. You know what I mean? Like, I have not seen anybody talk about meta being long shots at all. I don't even remember people scoring long shots at all in this game. But now, because my team is so badly DDA'd, you know, that shot's going to fly in. You know, I get it. It's a 96 rated Modric card. Not every card's going to be able to do that. But that should never go in. You know, it should never go in at this stage in FIFA with the quality of defenders, the quality of keepers. But that's just a handicap issue. So That one I just left on there because if you go back and watch that, like I was just laughing because Michael Essien is actually quite slow. He's not super quick. That's been one of my issues with him. He's very lethargic. But if you go back and watch that clip, because I played that ball, he wanted to get offside, so he sprinted like a cheetah. This is another one. I want to show this because this is what I was talking about, players taking each other's space. Look at Aguero at the top of the screen. He's running away. When that ball gets played back and Messi goes on a run, look at what Aguero does. He runs into the path of Messi because it wants to close that gap so it becomes easier for the defenders to read. So now that the ball's getting played to Messi, look at them. They're right on top of each other, and if I'm trying to make passes, they're running in line. So the defenders are going to pick that off. Like, that's what I was talking about earlier. So you have to be very cognizant of that. This is what pros do really well. They see that. They know that pass is going to happen. So they back off and they just hold the ball. They don't rush passes. So the reason I'm leaving some of these other clips in there is I want you guys to see what I'm trying to do to combat that type of stuff. If I was to just force passes through, the giveaways would be a lot more prevalent. But from just, again, I don't want to like sit here patting myself on the back, but like I'm trying to really just cut back and forth, dance around, not force passes. That's what you see a lot of pros do. And the reason for that is because they need the defenders to back away. They need your other players to back away. Because if you just force that pass, this is what people say. They're just like, oh, I shouldn't be doing through balls in my own end. The reason they don't want to do through balls is because when your team is getting like really badly handicapped like that, your players are going to be on top of each other, right? Here's another chance. Like, look at how perfect that ball is to Messi. I love that ball. He's on a bit of an angle. If I were to cut back onto his left, Ter Stegen would move to his right, make a diving save. So I'm trying to go cross body. I've got this half of the net where he's got outside of the foot trait, just put it into that right side of the net. Look at the shot. That was not a driven shot. That was just a normal shot, right? So that's the type of stuff that I'm having to deal with at this point. And then this happens. He's not generating any chances. He runs back. I defend it with Militao, bounces back. All I'm trying to do is turn with Ter Stegen to the right and lob it out to Nani, I think is who I had on the right. Look at what he does. Like, I was just speechless at this point. When I saw that happen, I just go, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And, like, look at this guy shushing me. So, anyway, point being, I've complained for about 30 minutes here. And it's not about me trying to complain. I'm sorry if that's annoying to you guys. What I'm trying to get out of this is this has been one of the biggest issues with FIFA all year round. Is just the handicap. It's just the morale handicap that is happening. It's been happening for years. They got to get rid of it. For the next episode, I'm going to take my team offline at this point. This was day one, I think. I don't even think this is the end of day one. I think we played more games. But for the next video, I took my team offline at this point, and you're going to see what a difference that makes. So as we go into the next episode, this is the first version of this, and we don't have any wins. So until next time, guys, take care. Thanks for watching.